So I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and we were talking about credit and debt, and he was telling me that credit cards and lines of credit were for emergencies. And then I was like, what? But it's not his fault, right? We don't learn personal finance in school, and we're limited to what we learn from our parents and the people that are around us. So I decided to make this video on emergency funds. So emergency funds are like rule number one of personal finance after you've gotten rid of all your toxic debt. So the purpose of an emergency fund is for two major reasons. Number one, you lose your job and you have no money to cover your basic expenses. Number two, you suffer from health problems that prevent you from being able to work. So I know what you're thinking, there's EI, there's disability, there's this and that. Will that cover all of your expenses? Another example is your car breaking down and it costing you thousands of dollars to get it fixed. So a rule of thumb to avoid going into debt in these emergency situations is to keep 3 to 6 months of expenses in your savings account at all times. You should have an emergency fund prior to investing in anything. So when you invest in something, your returns, they're not guaranteed. Sure, over the long term, you may do very well and they may go up over time. In the short term, they're definitely not guaranteed. So let's say instead of building your emergency fund, you invest in the market or in a house. Suddenly you lose your job and now you are taking out debt, and that interest rate is guaranteed. There is no speculation about it. It's guaranteed, and now you're going into debt. And it's going to cost you a lot of your time to work out of that debt. So to prevent all of this, you establish an emergency fund. Your emergency fund should cover your necessities, the absolute minimum that you need to survive, such as your rent or your mortgage, your food, your transportation, so your car payment if you have one, gas, car insurance, things like that. So if the bare minimum that you need to survive every single month is $3,000, you want to have at least $9,000 to $18,000 in an account, strictly in cash, so that you can use it in the case of an emergency. You do not want to have it tied to the stock market or invested. What's the best way to set up an emergency fund? So ideally, you should look for a savings account that is separate from the account that you use for day-to-day transactions. It has little to no transaction fees, and it allows you to make withdrawals without penalty. And it also generates interest on the money you save. So a great option would be a savings account with Tangerine Bank. The best part about Tangerine Bank is, yes, it's mainly an online bank. However, in an emergency where you need to use the ATM, you can use Scotiabank ATMs. Also, it's a no-fee bank. You do not pay fees for your checking or savings account. That's what you want in a bank where you keep your emergency fund. So if you want to open up a no-fee savings account with Tangerine, you can do so with my referral link in the description below. You'll get a bonus when you deposit, I believe it's $250, and it'll also help out the channel. So I really hope this video was helpful and insightful for anybody who didn't know about emergency funds and don't already keep an emergency fund. So do you keep an emergency fund? If you don't, let me know in the comments why you don't actually keep an emergency fund, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. And as always, if you got value from this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more personal finance content. And I'll see you in the next one.